It is only fitting that a moment ago we had the reference to business because it is the chairman of the House Small Business Committee who joins us, Texas 25th District Congressman Roger Williams. Merry Christmas, sir. How you doing?
Merry Christmas. I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
I am great. And in fact, we always at some point wander into what's going on inside your committee. But I want to start with your committee right now because how small business is doing is kind of like the best weather vane to how the economy is doing. And of course, there's still challenges. It takes some time to dig out of a hole of bad ideas. But as 25 gets ready to turn into 26, what's the forecast? What's the temperature of small business, and what are indicators that good things lie ahead?
Well, I'll tell you, I travel all over the country as chairman of the committee, and small business is excited. I'll tell you, the big, beautiful bill did a lot for Main Street America. I mean, it made tax cuts permanent, that we need to give more money back to people. Took reduction of regulations to help community banks, for example, be able to loan money to small business. You got 100% expensing, which it covers just about everybody, where you can buy a fixed asset and write it off there you buy it. And one thing that doesn't get a lot of play, but we talk about it periodically, we always talk about the farmers losing the family farm due to high property taxes and so forth. And we raised the inheritance tax from $15 million to $30 million per couple, which is a huge deal. And Main Street's going to be able to take advantage of all that as we come into January 1st. I think, too, Main Street will tell you they have inventories. They've got customers. Banks are being able to finance again. And it's going to be a really good year, I think. And you couple it, Mark, with the 0.25 reduction we had from the Fed last week in interest. That's going to set this economy on fire, I believe. And the fact of the matter is we do have inventories to sell people, which, Mark, when you have inventory, creates discounts and drives down inflation.
Precisely. That's the basics of economics. There was another economic basic that I saw in an X post. You sat down at I think it was a panel discussion with the folks at Axios, and you were talking about the economy, and everybody's freaked out about AI, and obviously there's all kinds of reasons to be, and a changing workforce and this and that. And I think one of the quotes from you is that the world is changing in so many ways, but we will always need plumbers, welders, carpenters. Right. You don't have an economy without them. And God bless college. There's still, things you got to go to college to do. But man, get a trade, do something with your hands, develop a skill in the real world, and it improves your it improves your prospects.
Well, it does, and you don't have an economy until you have plumbers, welders, and carpenters, and they're always in need. And the fact of the matter is, we've got 10,000 kids dropping out of the ninth grade every year in Texas, which is unbelievable. They're dropping out because they're losing hope. They should never lose hope, and they need to be told you don't have to go to a 4-year college. You don't have to go to a 2-year college. You can go to trade school, come out with less debt, have a business, buy a vehicle, hire your friends, and get going. And that's what our economy is all based on. That's what America is based on. But I have this idea, Mark. I'm a TCU Horned Frog. You're a Maryland Terrapin, but we send these kids to these schools, and why couldn't a kid go to TCU, for example, or any school, Baylor, Maryland, or whatever, and come out with a trade degree? I mean, we have doctor's degrees in schools, we have architects, we have all these things. But why couldn't we have a degree program coming out of our colleges where somebody even went to Harvard and got a plumbing degree? And I think we need to be thinking in those terms because that's the future of our economy, aside from all this other stuff.
It's funny, in 1972 to 75, when I'm going to high school at Crossland in Temple Hills, Maryland, we had the vocational wing. And I had friends all over the place, and those were the folks. The joke was that voted most likely to commit a crime, guys in the mesh T-shirts, smoking cigarettes, et cetera, et cetera. But they were also learning how to fix refrigerators and how to work on cars, and down to the bottom. While some folks were off getting degrees in weird things that were not marketable at all, those were the guys who were starting businesses and making their decisions that they made in the vocational trades look very wise in retrospect.
Well, you're right. And I remember when I went to school in the 60s in Fort Worth, you had to take metal shop or you had to take wood shop, and the girls all had to take home ec. Why did we get away from that? We've got a bill now that says if you're going to a school and you're going to think about entering a state university, that state university has to show you what it's going to cost you to go, but they also have to show you what a trade school would cost. So if a school year picked out is going to cost $40,000 a year, you can go to trade school for $2,000 a year. At least you might think about it and go that direction. and not have as much debt when you get out of school. We need to take care of these people because they always will take care of us.
Precisely. So, 2025, a congressional year comes to an end. We're real glad to have the Republican majority. We're looking to expand that redistricting. I hope that helps us do that. Let me share with you something I could, fill up the lines with calls of people saying the following thing and see what your thought is. We like Mike Johnson. We like the Republican majorities. We like it. We know there's a filibuster thing and the Senate barrier. But it just feels like we haven't made the most of this majority. It seems like there's more that we should have been able to do in 2025. Is that fair or unfair?
No, I think it's very fair. And I've even told my colleagues this, that I think sometimes we need to be a retail organization. We have a product to sell, freedom and liberty in the American people. And we need to think like Main Street America, like small businesses. And I told my colleagues, we don't do enough retailing. We do too much defending. We passed a bill that is unbelievable, the big, beautiful bill. It lowers taxes, does all the things we've talked about, made tax cuts permanent, regulations, 100% expensing. We save family farms. It goes on and on and on. And we were good in the beginning of talking about that because that came out of Republicans. Then we had the shutdown. And then we got all over about the Schumer shutdown and went down that road and forgot to talk about the big, beautiful bill. I never have forgot to talk about that. We need to do a better job of that. We've got great legislation to talk about it, sell it, and compare it to the other side, which has no clue except bringing on Jasmine Crockett to be their spokesman.
Mind reader, how do you think she's going to do in that Senate race?
Well, I guess she'll have a primary, but she's not going to win the U.S. Senate. We have three good men running right now, and one of them will get the nomination, and that person will beat her.
When, and obviously redistricting in the news, last thing, I always like to ask everybody, how did it change your world? 25th District is sort of from south of Fort Worth, Johnson County sweeps down into sort of the western suburbs of Austin, some of those lake countries. At least that's the way it was. How did redistricting affect Texas 25?
Well, it's great to represent this district, but my district now is I have all of Arlington. I have a major part of Fort Worth. We head west. We go up to Graham. We go down to Somerville County. We go all out toward bump up against Abilene. So I actually got rid of having Austin in my district that I represented the last 12 years, and got a great district. I don't have to get a hotel room to spend the night in the district now. I can go home and sleep in my bed. But I got a great district. It's one we're going to win, and I'm looking forward to representing everybody in Arlington, Fort Worth, and other areas.
Well, best of the Christmas season to you, the family. Thanks for another year of incredible visits, and look forward to cranking it up in 26 and working on a year where we expand our majorities and do even more. Always look forward to it, sir. Thanks so very, very much.
Thanks for your leadership, Mark. God bless.
That is 25th District Congressman Roger Williams, Weatherford's own.